Hey guys, DFW's Cars here. I'm here today with the Kia Optima, and I'm going to be discussing a little bit how this car changed from 2015 to 2016 and then into 2017, whether it can keep up with or even exceed its other Asian rivals.
I got ice right here in my day. Woo! Woo! It's got a built-in ice machine.
And most importantly, can this car actually give the Germans a run for its money? This particular instance is the Limited Turbo model, as you can see on the turbo badge there. And it's kind of a brownish color, much like mud or a shoe. Although I will say, Kia has some absolutely gorgeous colors that you'd want to check out. Or if you're a fan of, kind of understated colors like this might be the one for you. Let's do a walk around, talk about performance, and just talk about how this car is to live with. So I compare this car to some of the German rivals mainly because it is, styled in a way that is sort of European looking.
Seeing them right next to each other, you definitely see the Audi influence there.
Before we get inside, let's go check out that motor though and see how that looks and performs. In 2016, they actually limited and brought the power down on this motor. In a straight line, it doesn't torque steer as much, so maybe that's a good thing. But it's significantly similar in performance. The numbers are just a little bit low. A couple of things I want to go through on the front here that I really like. I love that these are actually functional. These pass right through to help cool the brakes and things like that. This design, I think it's an attractive, very sporty design, and I've seen this car in black a lot, and it looks really lovely, in the black. Let's go ahead and do a walk around. Love this model has the 18-inch wheels and tires, which is really nice, and I also love the red brake calipers there. Very sporty, very nice. The turbo badge on the side there is kind of cool. But really, it's not a real vent, so it's just a piece stuck on there. This model also has the window covers in the back you can raise or lower. Doesn't have them on the back window, but the sides. That's kind of nice if you have a child back there, something like that. Very sporty looking car. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also wanted to show you guys how the car looks at night. It looks really great. This model has the xenon headlights. Definitely an option I would suggest getting. Lights the road very well. Along the side here, I wanted to point out that probably the most distinctive thing about this car is this metal piece that runs all the way back there. That's probably from the side what would tell me exactly what this car was. Otherwise, it's got Acura, Audi-esque styling from the side. So from far away here, wouldn't necessarily be sure, but that piece back there, especially that back part, that definitely cues you in to what this car is.
It definitely has a more distinctive look than the new Camry, the redesign.
Really an attractive car. The profile almost, I would say, I know they hired an Audi designer, but it's almost Jaguar-esque from like here to here. Wrapping around here to the back, got the ring of LEDs. A couple of touches this particular model has, which it actually has some air diffusers down there. Probably helps with aerodynamics, although it's really there, I think, to look sporty. Haven't seen too many Kia Optimas on the track, and Kia was nice enough to give me this car, so I don't probably want to take it to the track to find out how it does, but very subtle spoiler there. It really is a pretty car. Got the dual exhaust, which you'll hear in a little bit. Let's go check out the interior and see how it drives. It has that beautiful sunroof that runs the whole length of the car up there, which is more interesting to look at from the inside. So you probably can't tell right now, but the car is actually running. It's that quiet and isolated. I would say, although this car has sporty attributes, they've definitely, you can tell, benchmarked it against cars like Lexus. Very quiet and calm and collected. On the highway, it can be a little noisy at very high speeds, but just driving around for normal driving, very calm and collected and cool. A very nice switchgear, has chrome accents. This white interior is just awesome. It also showcases the beautiful quilted leather there. cannot think of too many cars that aren't very, very high end that do have that quilted leather. I would love though if this stitching was, say, like black, contrasting to whatever the other interior color was. That could make it look even more, you know, sporty yet also elegant. The gauges and dials are very, you know, easy to read, crisp, nice in that regard. The dash is also super wide, super long, and there is stitching on the doors there that's not really leather, but they've definitely given it that leather look, so that looks really, really nice. Let's come along to the back here. Have the sunshades up. Keep it a little cooler back here. Probably the coolest part of this car from the inside that you'll want to show your friends and neighbors, and I definitely recommend this option, is the giant panoramic sunroof. You know, it has, that just goes all the way to the back. It gives it a very nice look and feel, and just makes it feel super open and spacious. In back, it's a very comfortable car, and it's very, very large. You could fit 2 6-footers very easily in this car, as you can see there, so that's pretty amazing. There are vents down here for the climate control, and there's a total of 5 cigarette lighter, you know, adapters throughout this car too. Here, one in the console, one up there, along with a wireless charging feature. So back here, you also get the nice materials. You get the high gloss plastic that continues from the front, the really nice looking surrounds on the switchgear, metal door handles here, as well as heated seats, which is a nice little touch. And then of course you also get that stitching back here. And even though there is plenty of space, the seats do indent, and you get a nice leather map pocket. A lot of car companies don't do that. As well as these seats do fold down. And then I'll talk about the stereo in a little bit. You get the surround speakers back here, and then a great Harman Kardon subwoofer. Big fan of this stereo. All right, now that we're inside, let's just kind of run through some of the features. Obviously memory seats here, a lot of trims have that. You don't need to get the Limited to go for that. This is for the blind spot detection monitoring. So if there's a car over in your blind spot, the mirrors will light up and show you. And also if you put your blinker on while a car is there coming into your blind spot, it will beep at you. If you see this lane feature turning on and off here, that's the lane keeping warning system. It's not an assist feature, which is kind of interesting because these turns green when it can actually read the lane lines. So you think if you put the smart cruise control system on, it might try to keep you in the lanes. At least from my testing, it does not. One thing I really like though is a lot of cars have paddle shifters nowadays, and they're plastic, even in classes, you know, much higher than this car. These are, you know, metal look and feel. That's really, really nice, and that must cost manufacturers like $5. Nice flat bottom steering wheel as well, which on the Limited model here is heated. The seats are also cooled on this model. This is one of my favorite features. If you have the car in view, in drive, you press that view button here, and that shows you what's in front of the car, and then in addition to what's all around the car. So in theory, if this would stay on while you were actually driving, if God forbid your windshield got really dirty, you could in theory drive the car with that. So that's really, really cool that it has that option. It's been a while since I had a car with an actual touchscreen. That's just extremely intuitive. The Germans, the BMWs have started to go back to it. They give you the option. They have the iDrive and then the touchscreen as well. But I've kind of missed having a actual touchscreen. It's just so intuitive and so easy, you know, to figure out and navigate. Touch is huge. So you can, you know, show traffic information. It's a pretty standard system. I do wish the screen was just a little bit higher, you know, resolution. I feel like that would, you know, make the whole package just a little bit better. One thing I want to point out on the center console on this car is this. It's so deep, and it goes so far down there that they figured out, hey, you might want to, you know, divide it and have it sectioned off. So there's this little case in here, which is actually super helpful because you could, you know, put the things you really need up there without sacrificing having the extra space down there or forcing you, you know, into a dual setup. There's one of those extra charging ports. Some exhaust. So one feature it has is it moves the seat back that so much a 7-foot person, I'm not even kidding, could get in and out of the car with how far it moves the seat back. I would probably turn off the feature if this was my car. Let's go take it for a drive and get a feel for what it feels like, what it drives like, and what it's really like on the road. The first thing you notice when you put it in gears, it's just a very comfortable car. The fact that it even has a sport mode was surprising to me. I mean, it does have sporting intentions, those red brake calipers, you know, a turbocharged engine. But outside of that, it definitely, on the spectrum, I would say it leans more towards a luxury car than a sports car. Part of that is the front wheel drive. Key, if you ever get the chance, please do add an all-wheel drive version of this car, because that really would make a tremendous difference, you know, in the dynamics of this car. It would just make it so much you know, better in hard acceleration while turning. The torque steer is pretty manageable, but when you're taking a corner and applying throttle, you will break those really good Michelin tires it comes with loose regardless. Going over some speed bumps now, and it doesn't jostle you or anything like that. I'm going to do a little acceleration test here within sport mode, and also paddle shifting. The paddle shifters are fast. They're not the fastest out there, but they are quick. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on the drive modes. I'll try not to describe them, but just give you my experience. Eco. Am I in a Prius? The sport mode, on the other hand, let's go ahead and engage that and take a corner here and see how sport mode works. Could use a little more bolstering on the seats there, but again, getting back to, this car is more of a luxury car for sure than it is a sports car. It's a luxury car with sporting intentions, would be the best way I would describe it, versus, you know, a sports sedan. Close to Lexus and I would say Mercedes, more so than, and BMW's kind of leaning in that direction as of late, and that's probably because this car was benchmarked against the Camry. It's way better than the Camry, and you're sure of the reliability. That 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty is there to back you up. I would definitely recommend this over the Camry. Slightly over the Accord. I just think that you have to run the numbers and see where the value proposition works out for you with the trim and model you want. But it's as engaging to drive as the Accord and as comfortable. And the Nissan Altima,
Really, it's closer to the Maxima, but the Maxima is going to be more sporty.
Probably it's slightly less engaging to drive, mainly because of the steering and the way the suspension. It's very firm with the first turn in, but then it gives a little bit before catching again, whereas the Altima is just more consistent. Probably because Nissan, you know, designs the GTR, so some of that suspension know-how comes through there. But as an overall car, it's definitely got a nicer interior than the Nissan. Onto the Germans. This model, with every option imaginable and conceivable, comes out to be $36,000. It gives you a lot of features. It's not quite as sporty as especially the new Audi A4, or say even the BMW 3 Series, especially if you get the sport package on there. Here's what it comes down to on whether it's a good value against the Europeans. Do you want it fully loaded at $36,000, or at that money you're getting into the price of a, you know, stripper, you know, base model A4, 3 Series, C-Class, things like that. The interior on this car, definitely as nice as the BMW. I feel like that's probably what they benchmarked it against. You're looking not to get all the tech though. You could get a German car for similar money, but you're going to have higher maintenance costs. You're not going to have that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So there's always trade-offs there. Engage the smart cruise control. So as long as I keep the car in its lane, you know, it'll follow the car in front of it. Again, you're not going to get those features on a German car for, you know, in the $30,000 range, even if you're in the high 30s. You see some cross-shopping, you know, among German car, or even like say Lexus buyers or Acura buyers, things like that. So I did want to make the comparison there because it is there and it is valid. While we're at a light here, let's check out that stereo. It is a Harman Kardon system, not the Logic 7 system, but it does have a surround feature that, for all intensive purposes, sounds very much like the Logic 7 surround. I'm sure it's if not the exact same algorithm, I'm sure it's probably a very, very you know, similar algorithm there. I'm counted the speakers. It doesn't say on the option sheet. It looks like there's about 12 speakers. The front surround sound, it's very much like a live performance. I really like it. It gives a great sound stage. So as for the tone, the bass is super solid. I wasn't able to turn it up past 11. No joke, that's as loud as you can get this stereo without it being kind of overly loud and starting to perhaps distort. And that's amazing because it goes to level like 30. The probably area of improvement for this stereo would be, and compared to other cars in its class, it's ridiculously good. Better for the high ends. The tweeters just aren't that crisp. They don't use the metallic coated tweeters that I can see through the grills in this car, and that shows. I wouldn't say it's as mid-pushed as a Bose system would be, but it's really close. I would say it's a slightly crisper Bose system, but it's definitely not up there with Harman Kardon's own Logic 7 system. Someone in a Nissan 370 was trying to race me earlier. It must be that turbo badge on the side. And I'm in sport mode. They probably detected that, so. I don't even know if you guys can hear, I'm full out at, almost 7,000 RPM there, and it's just, you don't even really hear the engine. And the exhaust is super muted there, so I have to go home. I can't be racing Nissans all day. So would I buy this car with my own money? If I knew I was going to keep it for the entire 10 years and use that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, I like the style. The handling is solid. It definitely tends a bit more on the luxurious end than I personally would like, but for the buyer of this class of car, I think it's one of the better ones out there. It'll be a really fun car for you. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll link to the option sheet so you can compare the spec packages. Like and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more car reviews coming up. I've had some opportunities to be able to do that, and including some really, really interesting cars that I might not even thought to have reviewed. So look forward to seeing you next time. Until next video, drive on.